Hey, this is Coach Latham, your Algebra SOL review coach, and today we're going to be doing Expressions and Operations Part 1. Here's the SOL for A1. The first thing that we're going to look at is how you convert words into numerical expressions. So you'll have two problems like from among these five on your SOL test. The first one says 2 more than the product of 4 and a number. Well, 2 more than means plus 2. And product of 4 and a number. Product means to multiply, so this answer would be 4n plus 2. That's how you would write that as an algebraic expression. The next we have the difference of 5 and some number. Difference means subtract, so it's going to be 5 minus n. The difference of 5 and some number. C is about the sum, and sum is your code word for addition. So we're going to add 6 and some number n. So that's going to be 6 plus n. D, quotient, means divide. The quotient of x and 16. So that's going to be x divided by 16. And the last one on this page is the one that has shown up on the SOL test the most because it's 5 less than the product of 6 and some number n. When you have than in the statement, it changes the order. That's why they keep putting this one on there to make sure you know it. So 5 less than means that we're subtracting 5. What are we subtracting 5 from? The product of 6 and some number. So that's going to be 6n minus 5. If you're confused by any of these, make sure you see your teacher for some extra practice. These are ones that we need to get right on the SOL test. Now, the next 2 pages are the 2 most important pages that you know how to do for the SOL test. There's always at least 6 questions on the test off of these 2 pages. They expect you to be able to evaluate expressions, and they're usually pretty complicated and involve your calculator. This is the way I would suggest you do it. Always, 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 always replace the variable by the number in parentheses. So for this one right here, it's going to be 3 times, and then instead of x, I'm going to put 5 in parentheses, plus 4. Then you close the parentheses, minus 2. And instead of y, I'm going to put negative 3 in parentheses, and then I'm going to work it out. You may think that I've got an extra set of parentheses in the first one, and you don't actually need an extra set of parentheses around the 5 to get the right answer. But if you always do it this way, you will always get the right answer. So what I want you to do is to punch this into your calculator and see what you get. I'll be right back with you. Okay, everybody should have got 33 for this when you worked it out. If you didn't get 33, please work with your teacher to make sure you know how to put the numbers in the calculator. These will be the most important questions for you getting ready for the SOL test. For B, we've got a fraction. And this fraction bar is the ultimate grouping symbol. So you've got to work out everything on the top, work out everything on the bottom, and then go through and divide. So on the top, you're going to have 4, and in parentheses, we're going to replace x by negative 6, minus 5, and then in parentheses, we're going to replace the y by the 2. On the bottom of the fraction, we're going to have 2, and then in parentheses, we're going to replace the y by the 2. So you're going to work out everything on the top and get an answer. You're going to work out everything on the bottom and get an answer. And then you're going to divide them. So go ahead and take a moment to make sure that you can do this one. All right, on this one, when you work out the top, you get negative 34. When you work out the bottom, you get 4. And then negative 34 divided by 4 is negative 8.5. This is not always the answer that they want on the SOL test. Sometimes they want the fraction answer. So you're going to go ahead and change that into a fraction. If you don't know how to do it, let's go ahead and make sure everybody knows it's negative 8.5 on your calculator. Hit the math, enter button. And that's going to give you negative 17 halves. So negative 8.5 is the same as saying negative 17 halves. So you'll look at your answers on the test and see which one you're supposed to come up with. C is no problem. It's a little bit easier than the ones that we've done so far. Go ahead and try and work C out by yourself from beginning to end. All right, everybody in this class got the right answer. Nice job. We replace M by 7 in parentheses. We replace N by 18 in parentheses. So that's going to give us 7 times 18 on the top. On the bottom, it's going to be R squared. We're going to replace R by 6 in parentheses and square that. And we all got 3.5. All right, for the next question, we've got negative x cubed plus 2x squared minus 6, and this time we're replacing it x by the fraction negative 1/3. There's almost always one on the SOL test where you have to replace it by a fraction. Remember, this negative sign goes right there. Then you're going to open parentheses because we're replacing x. Negative 1/3 is going to be put in your calculator as negative 1 divided by 3. Then it's going to, oh, I forgot to put my cube on there. We're going to cube that. Then it's going to be plus 2. And again, now we're replacing x again, so we're going to put negative 1/3 in there, squared, minus 6. So everybody plug that into your calculator, and let's see what kind of answer you can get. All right, so when you work this one out on your calculator, you get what looks like a mess as a decimal. It's negative 5.7407, and so on. But when you go math, enter, it converts to a reasonable fraction, which is negative 155 over 27. So this is what we need to get to. Again, pretty sure you're going to have one like that on your SOL test. There probably will not be one as hard as E on your SOL test, but I put together all the components of different problems over the past few years. Let's talk about this one a little bit. We're going to start out by putting negative 2 in. And then we got to do the cube root of something. Well, you're going to have to hit the math button to get the cube root. If you hit the math button, you'll see the cube root symbol. Go ahead and select that. And then instead of putting A on the inside, we're replacing A by 27. And then it's going to be, you got to make sure you hit the right arrow to get out of this box. And then it's going to be plus square root of B, but B is going to be 16. Then you're going to hit the right arrow to get out of that box, and then it's going to be minus the absolute value. Now to find the absolute value, you're going to go to math and then go over to number. And so you're going to get the absolute value of negative 2, and then you're going to hit enter on that. Everybody make sure that you can get an answer to that, and then we'll be back in just a minute to check. All right, this one was extremely complicated to type into your calculator, but we should have gotten negative 4 for an answer. If you didn't get negative 4 on your own, please make sure that you check with your teacher. We move into a new section here on the laws of exponents and simplifying polynomials. We got a couple of easy ones here to start off. We're going to multiply 6b squared times 5b to the 4th. Multiplying numbers is always the same. You're going to have 6 times 5 is 30, and when you multiply things with exponents, the exponents get added together. So b squared times b to the 4th is going to be b to the 6th. So that's your answer to the first one. Division works the opposite way. We're going to subtract exponents when we divide. But we'll start out, we're going to do number 3 next because it's the opposite. 45 divided by 5 is 9. That's really the hard part of this problem. Then we've got x to the 5th divided by x squared. Well, 5 minus 2 is 3, so that's x cubed. We've got y cubed divided by y, which is secretly y to the 1st. 3 minus 1 is 2, so that's y squared. And your z's cancel out, so that's your answer right there. 9x cubed y squared. Number 2 is the distributive property, and we're just going to distribute the 3x. It's going to be 3x times 2x squared, which is going to be 6x to the 3rd, because it's x to the 1st times x to the 2nd. 1 and 2 make 3. And then we're going to subtract and multiply again to distribute. 3x times 5 is going to be 15x. So there's your answer to that one. For number 4, we've got negative 2x to the 5th raised to the 4th. The easy part of this is the x. X to the 5th to the 4th is x to the 20th. The only time you multiply exponents is when you have a power to a power, and 5 times 4 is 20. What's a little bit more difficult is the negative 2 being raised to the 4th. You can put this in your calculator just like this and get the answer. It's going to be negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2, and that's going to make this answer a 16 right here. So that's going to be 16x to the 20th. And the last one on this page, we're going to do the same thing with the first part that we just did on number 4. We're going to have to cube the 3. 3 cubed, 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. And then we're going to have to do the x to the negative 2 raised to the 3rd power. Well, this is when we multiply exponents. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. So that's what we get for this first part when it's all worked out. And we still have the 6x cubed for the second part. Now I have no idea what 27 times 6 is, so I'll check my calculator out and I get 162. So 162 is my number part. And then I've got x to the negative 6 times x to the 3rd. When you multiply things with exponents, they get added together. Negative 6 plus 3 is negative 3. I'm almost done. I'm not allowed to have a negative exponent, so it's going to move to the other side of the fraction and become positive. So my final answer is 162 over x cubed. Now for our last 3 problems on this video, the first one is what some people call FOIL multiplication. We're multiplying 2 binomials. We're going to have x times x, that's going to give us x squared. X times minus 5 is minus 5x. Then we distribute the 3. 3 times x is 3x, and 3 times minus 5 is minus 15. We look to see if we can combine the middle terms. We're going to get x squared. Minus 5x plus 3x is minus 2x minus 15. So there's the answer to that one. For the next one, we've got 3x minus 5 squared. Well, when you square something, that just means you're multiplying it by itself. So this one is going to be 3x minus 5 times 3x minus 5. So we're going to work it out. 3x times 3x is 9x squared. 3x minus 5 is going to be minus 15x. Then we distribute the negative 5. Negative 5 times 3x is minus 15x, and negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25. Put your middle terms together. Our final answer is 9x squared minus 15 minus 15 is minus 30x plus 25. And our last problem is a division problem. We're going to divide each of the terms on the top by the 5y. So it's really like 3 division problems in one. 15 divided by 5 is 3, and y cubed divided by y to the first is y squared. So there's your first answer. We got a plus in between. Now we'll do 20 divided by 5 is 4, and y squared divided by y is y. There's our second one. We got a minus sign. 35 divided by 5 is 7, and y divided by y cancels out. So that's the end of part 1 on expressions and operations. Please check out part 2 as soon as you can, and then we'll move on from there.